Right on time.
No, that's first. She's gotta go first, but I'll say that.
You gotta throw it up. You gotta throw it. No throwing?
Okay, we'll call to order the Rolesville Board of Commissioners Workshop Session, June 18th, 2024. Thank you. Appreciate all the people coming and the people watching online. We've got a pretty full agenda tonight, so we'll get started pretty quick. And the first item is consideration of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to...
So moved.
All right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And no opposes. Thank you. And then the second item is consideration of the consent agenda, which is one item. So it's one item on there, the approval of the George Taylor Memorial, August the 9th. And I think Linwood has been kind of working on this one and has spoken on it a few times. And being it's only one item on the agenda, I will entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Entertain, a motion, a second, and we can have a discussion if you want to. So is there any discussion on this item? Any more discussion?
None
All right.
being.
Not hearing any, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, we got a few items before we jump into everything. I just want to kind of mention some of the things that's happening here, and probably the biggest thing happening in town is the closure of the intersection at Young and Main. I think it's been painful for a lot of people, and just want us to to say that we're working on that. I know the police department. I want to thank the police department. I know Chief is not here tonight, but I just got a text around 4, 5 o'clock from someone over on Purge Street that you guys over there talking to them, and we're working kind of hard on that situation over there. So just a special thanks to the police department and all their work in trying to get things straightened out. Also, special thanks to Eric and the public works folks that has worked really hard in redoing the signs, fixing the signs. People still not obeying them. They're not. I mean, I live on West Young Street, and if you go down West Young Street, if you go by Virginia Water Drive and the turn to go into your neighborhood, Turtle Plantation. If you go by there, it's no way to get out. No. You have to turn around. And on the way over here, it's been 2 days, 2 big signs setting up there, and then it's like 3 signs before it said road closed. 3 cars in front of me just kept straight going on down there, and I know that they're gonna have to turn around and come back. And 2 was coming back, making a left that had already gone down there. And here it is 2 days, and they just don't want to follow the signs. But we didn't get it perfect. I think we had a couple errors pointing the wrong way. But I just want to thank everybody for the kind of work the last 2 days to work on that. And I think you got a little report maybe you want to do, Eric. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, so that is the last item on our agenda. It'll be included inside of our active CIP projects update.
Okay.
So we'll talk through that and Rogers Road widening.
Okay. Thank you. And we don't have a public comment tonight, but I do know a lot of the comments you guys is making and stuff, and we're aware of that and taking action on that. So with that, we'll move on to the work session, comprehensive land use plan, affordable housing plan updates. I see Meredith is coming up, so appreciate it, Meredith, and it's all yours.
Good evening, Mayor Curran and Town Board of Commissioners. I have an update for you this evening on our comprehensive plan project and our housing plan project. Before we get into those updates, I'd like to frame our discussion with the connections that happen between our plans. If you follow the diagram on the left, the strategic plan, I know that's second on the agenda tonight. So our strategic plan is a guide for policy and decision-making for a 2-year period. And it has focus areas, connected community, abundant amenities, intentional growth, and strong organization. So that 2-year time period guides our decision-making and policies. Connected to that is our comprehensive plan. And I would love to get our community out of the habit of looking at the comprehensive plan as simply a land use plan. Our comprehensive plan is comprehensive. It includes land use, housing, economic development, parks and recreation, transportation. So in this diagram, you can see the green comprehensive plan square has all those connecting pieces to the economic development piece, the transportation piece, like I said, the housing and land use. And on the right side of the diagram, you see land development ordinance. So all of our policies and decision-making lead us to our vision, which leads us to what our development regulations are or should be. So all of these things are connected back and forth, and I want us all to keep that in mind as we jump into the comprehensive plan update project. So I'm excited to say that our selection committee has chosen Withers Ravenel Design and Planning to do our comprehensive plan update. We are almost done getting that contract signed, and we'll kick the project off next month. The project includes 3 phases. First, initiation and analysis, and you all can look forward to very soon meeting with the consultant team, which I mentioned, Withers Ravenel. It's also Rose and Associates doing the economic development piece. You all can look forward to meeting with them. They want to talk to you first and get your input on the particulars of the project, our process moving forward, and make sure you're comfortable with that as we get going. The second phase of the project is visioning and plan development, and that visioning has a lot to do with community engagement and getting all of our residents and business owners involved and getting their input on, what's good about Rolesville, what needs improvement about Rolesville, and what do we want Rolesville to be as we move into the future with a horizon line of 2050. The third phase of the comprehensive plan update will be refinement and adoption, and that will happen next year. So we hope to have this plan update wrapped up in a year. And as I mentioned before, I'd love us all to focus on the comprehensive nature of it and, really do a good job of updating the land use, but also making sure we keep all those connections to the different pieces and parts in mind. With our housing plan, a lot of good work has been going on, and we are expecting a draft of that plan late summer, early fall. We are wrapping up the discovery phase of that project, and we had the stakeholder meetings in February. I'm sure you noticed the public opinion survey that was out between February to April. A business survey is out right now, and subject matter expert interviews are being wrapped up with the consultant as well. So all of this information feeds the discovery piece that lends itself to the next phase, the strategy development and goal setting. And Mayor Kern, I do have the draft or the survey results up, if it's okay to bring that up and take a quick look, and then I can share that with you all afterwards. You've seen it so far, but I think you're the only one.
Right.
Let's see. So the survey that was out between February to April, let's see, it looked like this, if that looks familiar. And this is the dashboard for the survey. And again, I can share a link to this with you all. And you can see the responses by neighborhood. Villages at Rolesville came in at 14%. And each one of these circles represents a different subdivision. And what is fun about this survey, let's see, is you can filter the results if you want to play with it a little bit. And I will show you that on the next one. So this shows the years people have lived in Rolesville and what their work commute is like. And current home type, you can filter results by age, income, or years in Rolesville if you want to play with that. And I know Commissioner Paul will be excited about one of these. Needs of older adult residents. And this, you can filter this by age as well. So if we wanted to change this and just show 55 and up, we can do that. So I will send you all this, and you can have fun playing around with that and see what you think. And all of this information will be incorporated into the next step of the housing plan, developing the strategies and the goals. The consultant will use all of this to help frame action steps that they will share with us at an upcoming work session. So, what questions do you have?
One about the comprehensive land use plan. When you're talking about stakeholders, how much influence does the landowner have in determining, I mean, if Paul owns property and he doesn't want townhomes on there or something like that, how much influence does he have in the process to just make his thoughts known of what he would prefer to have on his property if it's ever developed?
Sure, I would say a property owner, landowner should and would have a lot of influence on what's going on with their property. And we'll be doing an extensive engagement process that will include in-person community meetings, 3 of those. We'll have online surveys, we'll have targeted outreach, and we can even have smaller group meetings with particular landowners or certain areas. And one of the reasons we picked Withers Ravenel Design and Planning is because we thought they had the best proposal for community engagement and getting everyone involved and listening to the residents and the business owners. So there'll absolutely be plenty of opportunities for property owners to talk about what they're interested in for their property and their vision for their piece, as well as the community as a whole.
That's good. Another question, when it comes to the housing plan, comprehensive plan, we have the property back here we've been talking about, and we kind of was waiting, but this is like next year. So if the people want to do something or start the discussion now, should they just come to you and talk about that, or what?
Sure, if people have questions or ideas about the vision for their property.
No, the one that we own.
The one behind there?
The one
I know
we-
we've talked about that in a work session before, and I'm happy to talk about it. I would love to involve the town attorney and the town manager with that discussion.
Yeah, because it's zone commercial, I think. And, if we want to use it for some type of, housing plan, then, I don't know if everybody want to wait till next year when the comprehensive land. I thought it may be quicker than that, but it looks like it's early 25 before we have
Right, the comprehensive plan piece. I know we were also looking at seeing what kind of action steps would come out of the housing plan, in which we expect the housing plan draft within a few months.
Gotcha.
So it seems appropriate to discuss what's happening there with the housing plan goals and strategies.
Right. So we could tie that better to the housing plan
Sure.
than the comprehensive plan.
Sure, and then that can be integrated into the updated comprehensive plan and the land use piece that will be in that.
And I'm just curious because I'm still learning some of the things about what the consultants provide. But specific around economic development with new businesses and things of that nature, that's obviously something that we're very passionate about as a community. Do they give us insight into the type of businesses we need to be targeting? Like, what does that look like specifically from them?
Yes, we have Rose and Associates as the sub-consultant to Withers Ravenel, and I know they've worked with the town before, and they will work with us to strategize on exactly what you just said, what we need to round things out today and moving into the future.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
Any other
questions?
questions, board? Everybody good? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you, Meredith.
Strategic plan presentation. Okay, we've been waiting for this one for a while. So we're able to do the budget without the strategic plan, but I don't think it's going to be tremendous problem not waiting to get that done. So you're going to share what we should be focusing on.
Absolutely. We're going to plug in this computer here and share it on the screen as Danielle is getting that set up. So good evening, board members, Mr. Mayor. I'm Warren Miller with Fountain Works, my colleague Daniel Badaki. It's good to see you all again. You should, oh, thank you, Robert. You should have a copy, the overview of the strategic plan on your desk, and so I'll be going through that with you as we go ahead and get this up on the screen. Okay. So, thanks, Danielle. So we want to give you an overview of your strategic plan, talk about what the process was to get to this, and walk through the overview of the document, and then also talk about what happens after today, sort of how you're going to move forward with this. As background, a strategic plan should answer these questions. Who are we now? Who do we want to be? How do we get there? It offers you high-level direction. It includes broad areas of focus and then specific objectives on how to achieve those goals that you have within your focus areas. And it is not a to-do list. It is a strategic, high-level guiding document that you can use as a filter, as a guidepost for other projects and plans and programs that you do. It's a 5-year strategic plan. And coming out of this, your staff is going to develop a work plan. So this creates the high-level guidance, and then coming out of this, they're going to be developing 1-year work plan on how to move forward with this strategic plan. So just a little bit about the timeline. This work started last fall, and it started with some guidance from your leadership team about the current strategic plan that you had, what they wanted to get out of this process, what the community engagement should look like, what they wanted to make sure you received out of this deliverable. We had a retreat with you, the board, back in January when it was about half the temperature it is outside right now. And just again, commend you all for taking a full day to think about your vision, think about where you want this community to go. This plan reflects the work that you did at that visioning session back in January. It reflects your ideas, and it reflects your priorities. After that strategic plan retreat, we were able to develop a framework that we use to then go back out to the community and say, give us your reactions. Let's get your input on this initial framework. What do you like? What's missing? What's important to you? So that included a community survey. It included a community cafe, some interviews. Community cafe was a chance to bring people together to talk about where they wanted to see the community go. After that community input, we then worked to develop the strategic plan document. That included sessions with your leadership team and staff to put that together in the spring, and then here we are in June. So that's just an overview of the timeline that began last fall. So a couple of things that are important to just keep in mind, that you had a strategic plan, and so this is updating your strategic plan. Typically, you're not making major changes in a document like this, but this document reflects changes that you all said that you wanted to see, and there are some shifts in this strategic plan compared to your prior strategic plan. This is your vision statement. A vision describes in in a word in a sentence, your aspiration of who you want to be, what's important to you as a community. So it describes that destination. Your new vision statement, Rolesville is a dynamic, tight-knit community that fosters genuine connections and embraces change while maintaining its unique local character. And you also revised your mission statement. Your mission is the mission of this organization, this town government, to help you achieve this vision. It's the purpose, this is the why behind the purpose of this institution to help you get to that vision. Your mission is to provide the highest quality of service in an efficient, cost-effective, and courteous manner, focusing on a safe, livable, and sustainable community with a strong sense of belonging. Strong sense of belonging was one of the things that came out of this work, and it is a shift in your mission statement. Again, this is all proposed. This is a chance for, you'll have a chance to consider all of these changes. You also have a set of values. These represent the core values of the town organization. I won't read all of these statements in detail, but these values include accountable, collaborative, ethical, excellent, inclusive, and transparent. So values are what you believe in. They drive the decisions that you make. One of the things that was added in this version was accountable as a core value. And accountable, we foster a culture where individuals and our teams take ownership of our actions and decisions. We're consistently driven to meet our set goals and focus areas. So those are your core values. And so now we get into the strategic plan. It includes 4 focus areas. And what you're seeing in front of you is the focus areas from the previous strategic plan, and then the shift in these focus areas. There are some subtle yet important shifts. Again, these come from your work, your retreat, and also engaging the community and your staff in this. And I'm going to go through these with you. So 4 focus areas. The first is connected community. So connected communities, what that means, creating a meaningful community connection, lies at the heart of Rolesville's identity. As our town continues to grow, fostering deep community bonds is key to enhancing our sense of place and belonging. Rolesville is made up of friendly residents who are connected to each other and with the town itself. So really trying to frame what you mean by connected communities. The objectives are the ways that you are going to achieve this area of focus. And so you have 4 objectives. And I would just say overall that your areas of focus in this plan are more visionary. They speak more to where you think Rolesville should be. And these objectives here, I'll read them. Intentionally create opportunities to promote and foster connections for residents within Rolesville. Celebrate the diverse communities within the larger Rolesville community through cultural events. Strengthen our network of partners in the state, county, and community that can support the town as we address regional issues. And implement systems for clear communication with residents. So those are your 4 objectives. In the strategic plan, within each of the objectives, your leadership team developed a set of potential activities, tactical activities, as well as performance measures. So again, what comes out of this process is that your leadership team is going to develop a work plan, and that work plan will have specific tactical activities and that's okay, yeah. And it will also have performance measures. It's important that you're measuring how you're doing. What gets measured gets done. Your staff is going to be having a set of measures. It's going to be pursuing activities that will help support your ability to achieve this goal area, and you'll be able to get updates on how you're doing. So your performance measures here are going to be finalized, and your activities, potential activities will be finalized, but the strategic plan identifies some potential measures and activities. So your first focus area is connected communities. Your second is abundant amenities. And what this means, Rolesville is committed to delivering amenities of the highest quality that cater to the diverse needs of our residents. Our consistent recognition as one of the safest towns in North Carolina demonstrates our dedication to maintaining and enhancing the infrastructure that contributes to our town's charm and high standards. So that's what abundant amenities means to us. You have 4 objectives here. Continue to improve and beautify Rolesville. Expand and develop active open space, greenways, and recreational facilities. Continuously provide superior public safety and fire services, and proactively support plans, services, and programs that build and maintain quality community infrastructure and town facilities. So those are your 4 objectives for abundant amenities. Intentional growth. In this is a shift in from your previous strategic focus area. What this says is our community continues to experience growth, and we will prioritize sustainable development practices and ensure that adequate planning and investment in the town infrastructure. We seek to retain what makes Rolesville special and grow responsibly. We welcome change while considering the needs of both our current and future residents and businesses. So your objectives here for intentional growth include enhancing the town through investments in projects, facilities, and infrastructure that support expansion in Rolesville, investing in a diverse mix of commercial, retail, and residential development, serving as an advocate for small business community, expanding the non-residential tax base through incoming businesses and job opportunities, and encouraging long-range planning to address growth related to the watershed, diverse housing, traffic, and the environment. And then your final area of focus is more internal facing. This is about the organization of people that are empowered to do this work. So what this means to us, the town of Rolesville strives to be recognized as a regional employer of choice, recognizing our employees' pivotal role in Rolesville's success. We are dedicated to enhancing and developing our employees, fostering a supportive workplace culture among Rolesville staff. Our internal-facing goal is to create a workplace where employees feel committed to the mission and the vision of the town. And so these 5 objectives are all designed to help pursue strong organization, including maintaining financial strength through data-informed decisions and other best practices, continuously providing outstanding support to employees through competitive pay, resources, and facilities, cultivating an organizational culture where employees feel supported and encouraged to thrive in an inclusive environment, strengthen transparency and open communication between the board and staff members, and creating opportunities for growth through career ladders, supporting employees' growth, and reducing turnover. So these are your objectives around strong organization. And again, the strategic plan has a set of performance metrics and activities that can be pursued in a 1-year work plan. So again, just in terms of next steps, once you adopt this strategic plan, your staff is ready to get to work. They're going to be developing that one-year work plan and a process for managing and monitoring those things that are important to accomplish both in year one and as you move forward in year 2 and 3 and 4. And they'll have a set of performance metrics which they'll be able to monitor how we're doing and be able to share that back with you. So congratulations on completing your budget. Congratulations on updating this plan that you created. This is about your vision and about what are the important areas to focus on that will help guide you going forward in the future. So with that, be happy to take any questions or if there are any additional perspectives that you all want to share from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. What about the board? Any questions?
I will add, before y'all ask questions, that even though you're seeing the final strategic plan now, we had gathered information, we had started our information gathering process for the strategic plan and even the retreat that we had with you all before we started the budget process. And so throughout the whole budget process, we were taking the information and the feedback that we received from you all, executive leadership, and most importantly, the community through the community conversations, the survey, and the one-on-one calls that they had made to certain people, certain business owners within the community. So that information did go into the development of the budget, and also a lot of the decisions will be made around prioritizing our capital improvement model and program, because that is primarily built on that having the amenities to support the residents that live here as well. And also a lot of the strategies that we're using between Public Works and Parks and Recreation with some of our greenways and prioritizing planning our approach to pavement preservation and things of that nature. And so just because they were not introduced at the same time, a lot of the information is free flowing between that, and it was very much kind of an integrated process to develop both of those things concurrently so that they would sync up as we move into, well, next month when we kick off essentially our next fiscal year, which is where we'll start the development of those work plans that will be updated from year to year. And then we'll have a refresh in some years and then leading that. But in general, that's what I wanted to just communicate in regards to that connection between our budget, our current budget, and our upcoming fiscal year. And then lastly, just thank you all for your work and support. And so we're looking forward to doing that. Continuing our work with you, and then also I sit within a community of practice in the region. This led by Central Ponds. It's a strategy and innovation community of practice where a lot of the strategic planners from each one of the municipalities within the Central Ponds, formerly called TJ-COG, get together and look at the strategies that everybody's taken to develop their departmental work plans, and also the measures that we're using, that everyone is kind of using to report back on that work. And so the goal of that is to help us to be able to turn this into an actual living, breathing document as soon as possible, and also help alleviate some of the work on staff when it comes to developing the departmental work plans. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We definitely want to find as many resources as possible, because it's a very involved process, and it's super important to get those measures correct and not have too many. Some people have way too many measures. And so we'll be threading the needle with that, and you all will be getting updates on that on all those things. But I'll turn it back to you all if you have any questions about it.
Yeah, I know you guys seen this a lot, so, but any questions from anybody?
No.
I have a question. My biggest question, was there anything from the community that was an outlier that surprised you, or even from doing conversations with the staff that is something that we should highlight or that we need to talk offline?
No, I think the community conversation was great in terms of people being able to have open conversation about new residents with residents that have been in Rolesville for years and years, and they were able to both to have one conversation about what's important, and I think it was interesting, it was interesting the importance of embracing new residents into the community while also recognizing the history and what's important and what makes Rolesville unique as a community. I think that was interesting. Everyone recognizes that the town is growing. They appreciate that that Rolesville is, even with rising housing prices, is still more affordable. And they recognize that this is, this is something that's important to continue to focus on, and I know you're doing work in that. So I think that tension between knowing we're growing and embracing the change, I think that's something that comes out in this plan. Like, it's not, we're trying to stop the change from happening. People recognize that, and they want to embrace that kind of change and create a community that is inclusive to the people that are coming in, that are new, and that the people that have been here for years can continue to thrive.
Thank you, Warren.
Sure.
This plan should be on our next month agenda for approval, correct?
Yes.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, it will have to be adopted by action, yes.
Great work, Warren.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And Danielle.
Any other thoughts, questions? Thank you, appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And next step, what do we do next?
Yeah, well, next, I do want to thank my colleague Danielle Badaki, who you all met at the retreat, for all of her work, and I appreciate all that you've done. The next step is that we're going to be getting together with your manager and his leadership team to create that framework for the one-year work plan. So once you set the wheels in motion, your staff is going to develop that work plan with those metrics.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, appreciate that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right. The next item is one that Eric mentioned earlier, active capital improvement plan CIP projects update. So, all yours, Eric.
Yes, so I need to grab the dongle to plug up my laptop. Apologies. So this update is for the active capital improvement projects. I'll start with the two most prevalent ones, which are the Rogers Road widening and then Main Street, and then I'll follow up with updates on some of the other outlying kind of projects that aren't in active construction mode, but I think you would like an update on like the farm entrance and such. So the first, where I'll start is with the Rogers Road widening project. It's been under construction for about 6 weeks. It's at 85% completion. The major updates that I have or accomplishments so far is that all of the alignment of the road is complete. And so that's all of the shoulder work, the establishment of the base or the foundation of the road surface is complete. That included working with DOT to take out some trees. We had to make some field edits. We ran into some granite. But the good thing about that in our situation is that the existence of the granite made it to where we did not have to put in certain stormwater utilities, because that's a great surface for water to flow across of and doesn't wash away. And so it saves us in some areas. We encountered some conflicts with some very old, like Bell South, like phone lines, and those things were reconnected. But in general, everything, all the major work for the alignment is complete. In addition to that, all the subsurface work has been complete, with the exception of some reinforced pipe that goes underneath one of the driveways. And so what that means is there won't be any cuts in the street, and so you see less deviations when it comes to traffic control, which is like the major thing. We'll see the bulk of, as far as next steps, we'll see the bulk of the alignment, impact on traffic kind of fade away over the next week. They'll be putting in the final lift of asphalt late this week, early next week. And so if it does not rain, they should finish it Saturday morning. So they'll be paving on Thursday and Friday of this week. We have a field meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. with myself, Bolton Mink, the paving foreman, Cardinal Civil, and also the striping foreman or the striping team that's going to put in the paint. And we'll walk through everything before they go ahead and put the last bits of asphalt in. And so the goal of the project is, the approach has worked so far, and so that is to get the Rogers Road completed as much as possible, so that they can move and work on the connection of Rogers Road to that interior street that comes out of Willoughby. And so most of the work that remains will be off the shoulder of the road and not in direct conflict with traffic. We anticipate punch listing in the second week of July. And so what that means is, it's like blue tape. If you ever bought a house, you got a new build, you're going through and blue tape, like, hey, you need to move this, hey, you need to adjust that. And after that, we'll move towards completing the as-built, getting those submitted to DOT for acceptance, and closing out the project. In general, the project is ahead of schedule by about a week. And we're on track budgetarily, thanks to some of the things we've been able to make field revisions on. So everything is going well. We've had solid communication with the neighboring residents, Wake Forest, and some of the Heritage residents as well. And things have just been moving pretty good over there. So did anybody have any updates specifically about this project? I mean, any questions? Sorry, questions about it?
No, you think it's going to come in under budget then? Or?
It's on track. And so we haven't had any major on track. Is one thing that you'll see is that when somebody says we're going to pay you this much for a project, you're going to end up paying that to the penny. And so the same thing with our public works facility, we came in very good. And with the last pay application, they took it all the way up to the penny of the amount that we were contractually obligated to pay them. And so we should not be over budget, but not under, but we're on track. Yeah.
Gotcha. And the only thing, I guess from the public, I've had a couple people ask, doing all that work, why are you not putting a sidewalk in there? Because it's a gap there with the sidewalk and all. And it's just that we didn't have the property to do that about eminent domain and all that stuff, right? Is that the question?
You mean the sidewalk on the Wake Forest side of the project, or on the Rolesville side of the project?
We're talking about Rogers Road there?
Yes.
Coming out of Willoughby or something?
Yes. You mean far down?
No, the sidewalk goes up to Willoughby and it stops, and then it picks up at Heritage. But that area where
Yes.
the house
So
where this paving is taking place,
that's correct.
we don't have the right
And
of
so
way and all.
there's a property that is along Rogers Road there that is not in the town, has not annexed in, and that we do not have enough right of way, and could not acquire the property or right of way or what have you, land that was necessary to put in the sidewalk. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just a message, I guess, because it's going to, I think some was anticipating that happening because they come from Heritage. It's people from Heritage.
Yes.
They can't get to the other side.
That's correct. Yes.
But, the message, we just didn't, it's not in town, we don't own the land.
Yes. That particular property is not in town.
You live in Heritage. right. You know where I'm talking about.
With the Main Street project, some of the major, one of the main things that you'll notice is that the intersection of Main and Young has closed. It closed on Sunday evening, more specifically Monday morning at 3 a.m. Before I start talking about the closure, some of the major accomplishments for that to date is that the New Burlington Road alignment is about 85% completion. If you drive by, you see that it's fully connected to Main Street, and they have already put in the foundations for the mast arms the signals that'll go in there. So at the initiation of the project, there was a concern that the signals and the mast arms, because of steel production, all those different things would not be showing up in time, but they did. And so on the old Burlington Mills side of that connection, you see that it is built out all the way up until maybe about 10 feet, but it's not connected. And so we're waiting on some approvals on some stormwater connections in order for us to close that out. But that surface is pretty much ready to go. And so as soon as we get those approvals, we'll be able to move forward. The south end updates, and when I say south end, I mean from right here in front of Town Hall back past Meineke and Bojangles. Most, if not all, the water and sewer and the stormwater utilities have been installed. And so what you're noticing over the last week is that they went ahead and paved in and put in the concrete medians so they can limit the amount of obstructions to traffic flow as we start working on the Main and Young intersection. The only thing that remains on majority of that is the final lift of asphalt. And again, when you get to the place where you're waiting for the final list of asphalt, that means you're not making any street cuts. You shouldn't have any major things go on in there. And so the last layer of asphalt will be reserved until we can get further into the project so that it'll be a fresh, continuous road surface from beginning to end, because you want to eliminate as many transition joints in the upper level of asphalt as possible. The last one is just collaboration with neighboring development. We're able to work out several kinks with, there's a doctor's office that went in across beside Bojangles that we were able to work with, and they erected their building swiftly. And so we work with them. We're continuing to work with Walbrook and also Cobblestone to work out where the different places where our projects overlap. And so that's something we'll expect for the remainder of the projects. So circling back to the Main and Young intersection closure, prior to the closure, we met with property owners' businesses to hear about their concerns. We also purchased additional yard signs after we had those concerns. The mayor, myself, and Michael met with some of the business owners at Main and Young about 2 weeks ago and fielded some of their concerns about it. We set up a new weekly email update to inform property owners and businesses of the work being done. And then also we just made a final push for social media and project webpage updates. And so we made sure that we had that in place so that when the intersection closure occurred, we can handle what comes with an intersection closure, which is what we've been giving all of our attention to. And so since closure, as the mayor mentioned, this week has been pretty turbulent when it comes to traffic flow. And that's something that comes natural, but is definitely not something that we take lightly when you make a closure. When you start looking at the decisions that drivers make that are passing through, and it's very hard to judge what they will do. And so one thing that we've done is that we had a meeting today. We made some shifts in real time on Monday, which is working with PD and Public Works to shift some signage, get some speed humps in, and also have our police department, thank you all so much, patrol certain areas and try to help eliminate people making certain decisions, which making certain turns going to certain areas. And then today we had a meeting with ourselves, the town, Fred Smith, RK&K, Public Works Police Department, and took all the feedback that we have received from residents on Perry Street, business owners, people who call yourself, people who are commuting through the area, and we put together a pretty substantial list of things that will be shifting with signage. You'll see some of the barricades moved into the streets over the next 2 days. You'll see the addition of more light boards with words and instruction around 401. One thing I think is important to know about like traffic control is once they hit the point that they turn around, that's actually a symptom. Typically, the original decision was likely a mile or 2 miles ago. And so when you get to the dead end, that's the symptom. And so that's why you saw myself, being out more on the fringes of 401 is like, how do you keep people from making those turns? How do you keep people from making those turns? And so we work from the outside in to try to get that while doing some immediate measures of just ticketing and patrolling. And so we've been working on doing that. We met today and we'll have an idea of what the delivery time will be on signage, the light boards and such tomorrow morning. We have a meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. in which we'll convene again in the field and talk through those things again. And so our goal is to have updated signs in place by the end of the week. Again, we have to rent those. And so that's something, but thankfully there's something that's included in the project. In addition to engaging our police department to another thing that's included in the project is off-duty police overtime pay. And so there's a certain amount that is reimbursable that's included in the project. It's something that we hadn't utilized to this point because we knew that we would need it at this point. And so we are covered when it comes to the additional asks that we'll have for our police department as well. So we'll work with them to try to patrol it and deter as many things as possible. Additionally, we're working with Public Works. They're pricing out more temporary speed humps to go in other areas that we're opening up to or offering up as local traffic only detours. And so you see more vehicles go down Virginia Water Drive and such. But the main thing that we're doing is deterring people from the Perry Street, William Street area. One thing that has helped with that is that we've updated the TIM system. And so the TIM system is the system that DOT uses to communicate with your Google Maps, your Apple Maps, and all those different things for road closures. And initially, it was just that intersection being closed. We've expanded that closure area to say that Perry Street is closed, William Street is closed, and all those streets that are in the immediate area are closed. And also, the length of West Young back to Scarborough is closed. And so what you'll see is that as we sat out there that morning, people will pull into EMS, type in their phone, say, which way do I go? And the phone said, turn right on Perry Street. That right does not get offered up anymore. And so we hope that just the pass through traffic will stop and you'll see more just local traffic. That unfortunately impacts other things. And so we're communicating with Wake County Schools to make sure that that TIM system does not trigger school buses not going a certain place for those who remain open. And then also we're working with the U.S. Postal Service and our postmaster to make sure that that doesn't trigger them making decisions around the delivery of mail. And so thankfully it's easier to communicate with 2 or 3 people that work for a postal service than it is to communicate with 7,000 people that commute through daily. And so we're working on that to help alleviate this as much as possible. As far as work inside of the intersection, the utility companies have mobilized. You'll see traffic control for Pike and others that are doing relocating some utility poles. You'll see more initiation of work. You'll see cutting of asphalt beginning tomorrow inside of the work zone. And also we're continuing to work with the business owners to, as they kind of adjust and get rid of certain things that may be inhibiting people from walking down the pedestrian path around the closure. And so we're working with everyone to try to get that done. We are getting tons of feedback, and we're listening to everyone. We're doing our best, and so our hope is that over the day, every day, you'll see some indicator of a change or alleviation in some of the symptoms we're seeing with the traffic, pedestrian foot traffic, and all those different things. And hopefully, we can normalize to a tolerable place within the next week and a half, so that we can. So that this won't be as painful for everyone as it's been. We know that it will continue to be different, and it won't be perfect since it's such a substantial intersection that is closed. But we'll keep working at it and do as much as we can to kind of help with that. There's also been concerns from residents on those residential streets as to the damage that could happen to their streets as a result of any traffic, be it Virginia Water Drive, Perry Street, and so we're covered with that. And so we're readjusting some of our power bill planning with resurfacing, and we'll hold off, and we'll be sure that we can do any repairs that happen to those streets from the increased kind of traffic. And then also if there's any damage to, we had an 18-wheeler truck come down fully loaded and jump a curb into somebody's yard, and so replacing, because there's not any curb and gutter there. And so any seeding and mulching or straw that needs to happen, we'll definitely be intent on doing that within the project, and if not, our Public Works Department. And so we're trying to make sure that we negate as much stuff as possible, and then in the long run, repair anything that's done. But it's a process. And so when you have a Main Street Vision Plan, the thing that people don't think about is the Main Street Vision Plan process that comes way before you get to the final product. And so our hope, we're inviting everybody to remain communicative. We're doing our best to do that. Please use give us a call the hotline, send in emails, reach out. But we're trying to contain that and find the themes and the feedback from the community and address it in the most strategic way as we can. So in general, those are the updates for, I would say, the big two. Do you have any questions about Main Street project before I go down the rapid fire list of all the others? Yes.
First, you've done a stellar job. It's not easy, virtually impossible. You've made some adjustments. We're trying to make it better for all concerned. One question I have is, you mentioned the 18-wheeler. Is there any reason for any tractor trailer to come down East Young Street from the bypass?
They usually come in.
But given the fact that the intersection's closed, is there any reason for them? There's nowhere for them to go.
Now, no. And so
Can we prevent that?
They're rerouting, or their routes run off that TIM system as well.
Okay.
And so a lot of them didn't even know that those cut-through streets were there until they turned down and realized, it's got two 45-degree angles in here, and it's only 20 feet wide. It's not 32 feet with a center turn lane. And so they were surprised, and none of them like backing up. None of them like turning around, and they will. No, you should not see any one of them a second time.
Can we put a sign on the entrances?
Yes, they're saying no commercial traffic.
Okay.
And then the language of more than 3 axles or more is going to be implemented in some of the signs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
need to find them if it continues.
That's the next
I
step,
think
yeah,
that
definitely.
My understanding, the plan y'all had originally, there was considerations that on occasion that the businesses down there may get an 18-wheeler. And if so, they had a plan to get them in there and back. But that's not.
Yes, but those are the businesses that are in the immediate construction area who
right.
would have
But they
a
would come
large.
down- They would come down.
Yeah, but the larger ones should detour around, like deliveries to like a Food Line or to a fast food store that's, Bojangles. They should detour around.
Yes.
Rather than making that right and coming down.
Only if the truck is coming for those businesses.
Yes.
Suzanne's
right.
and Taylor's business and those type of things.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Signage for the Jonesville area, for those live in Jonesville that will come out to Rolesville. Are there any signage that's already there on 401 that you know of?
I'm not understanding.
Okay, leaving 401, going into Jonesville Road, are there any signage about construction going on Main Street?
So as you come out of the Jonesville community or Jonesville Road?
Yep. Going outside of their area, get ready to get on 401, are there any signage there?
We'll see more signage on 401. So the left turn onto Main,
Yep.
the right onto Main, the right turn, the U-turn onto Young, and the right turn onto Young.
Okay.
And then there'll be more signage further up 401 back towards the Rolesville sign as well, so that you have a general awareness of it. So the reason why they hadn't put some signs on 401 yet, because they were extending the storage lane on 401 for the left turn, but that construction is complete as of last Monday. And so you won't see any construction along that left turn lane off 401 onto Main. And so now there'll be less conflicts for them to put signage out to let them know. Since it's faster, and of course, they have to put them more like 250 feet out, 300 feet out. So, but there'll be more, to answer your question, there'll be more signage on that. I'll make a note for that as far as notifying that Jonesville Road area. The only other thing I would say to add is that we've posted the address of the parking lot, the new parking lot, and that's 103 North Main Street, 103 North Main. And so what will happen is if you put in that, we're providing it, we have provided that to the businesses who are downtown. So if you use that to get downtown, it'll naturally give you a route that will take you to that parking lot that will go around. It's not Pulley Street, it's Pulley, what?
I think it's Pulley Street.
Pulley Town. It's a Pulley Town. It'll likely take you down Pulley Town for local traffic, but that should not, because of the size of that road, it shouldn't have any reason to send an 18-wheeler down Pulley Town, down North Main to have to make a U-turn.
Any other question, thoughts? Well, thank you, Eric. I know I mentioned the police department. They've been really busy, and you've had the public works working pretty hard. And
Yes.
I agree with Commissioner Paul. I mean, a stellar job. Derek is wearing 3 hats, and then this project has started that has taken a lot of time, and he's been. I kind of take it, when I'm here, he's been out of the office more than he's been in the office trying to figure these routes
Yes.
out and get these things fixed. But I would say, he's working really hard, and if you can't get up with them, get up with me or whatever, and I'll get up with them. But he's doing all he can do, and we do have Michael out this week too, and Michael is in the plan to help a lot with the communications.
Yeah.
And so when he comes back Monday, that's going to really relieve a lot of this communications where it's very difficult for Eric to work. I would say real time. Is that a good way to put it?
Yes, real time.
It's hard for him to work real time when he's in all these meetings and trying to get things figured out and signs ordered and stuff. So real-time communications, is difficult for them. And so if you come up at town hall and want to meet with them, it's going to be tough without scheduling
And
something.
the thing to remember also is, like if you leave a voicemail, I don't want to tell you how many voicemails I received, but I will say that we listen to them and we get the information to the contractor as soon as possible. And so it takes a while for us to get back to be able to give you a call back. But when we read it, we hear it, we move on it. And so that's the main thing. And so I would say consider the leaving of a voicemail the receipt of one. And so if it's left, it's received and it's listened to. So I'll do some rapid fire updates on some other projects real quickly. With the town campus, with the adoption of the budget, it's freed us to move on to the next step. So that will be engaging. Number one, we are expanding the project team. And so the project team has been myself, finance, planning, and ADW, the consultant. And so we're expanding it to include the police department and the fire department now, since we're moving towards the next phase will be site development of the entire site, and also the updating of the assessments for the police department and the fire department. And we have a meeting coming up next week, which will be the first meeting that we'll have with the fire department and the police department. And there'll be walkthroughs of both of their current facilities, and they'll start those evaluation processes. And so that's kind of like the next step. We won't be seeing like a breaking of ground or moving soil for still another year or so. Excuse me. But the work on the site development and the design will begin on that. The Public Works facility, that project is officially closed now, and they are moved in. They have transitioned out of their old space, and so they're getting settled in. And so they're located at 805 East Young Street, and they, of course, are loving it in comparison to what they did. And so they brought on another staff member, and we've posted the additional two and workers that will be joining their team. And so they have plenty of space to start continue providing high level of service to everyone here, everyone within the community. And so we're excited about that one. And Granite Acres Greenway, the final design for that is complete. Just to recall, that's that pedestrian walk path that you've heard a lot about. And so the town attorney and Parks and Records Department are working together to keep the project moving forward. I believe it was April 14th where we were cleared to kind of move forward with additional steps to acquire a property that's needed through condemnation. And so Dave may have an update on that, but that project in general is continuing to move forward.
So the update on that, excuse me. The update on that lawsuit is that it has been filed, and we're in the period of time for the property owner to answer that complaint. Unlike a normal North Carolina lawsuit, the time to file your answer is not 30 days, but 120 days. So I think we probably have about 75 days left. And when the property owner either answers the complaint or that time to answer expires, will be the time at which the town can go upon the property. So 75, 80 days, probably in that range.
With Mill Bridge Nature Park Amphitheater renovation, firstly, thank everybody for coming out to the Juneteenth celebration this past weekend. It was a great occasion. But as far as the update on the project, the construction documents have been finalized and are currently under review by the Parks and Recreation staff. One thing that we've done is we've applied for a grant for the renovation of that of the amphitheater under the grounds of ADA accessibility. We believe the likelihood of us receiving that grant is really, really high, given the amount of people that applied versus the amount of money that they have available. The grantor, or the people that oversee the distribution of the grant, did a site walk with our Parks and Recreation Department to gain additional information and insights into the project, its purpose, and the impact of it. And so we're hoping to hear back soon as to whether or not we will receive those funds to move forward with that work. If we are awarded that grant, then we anticipate being able to have our next Juneteenth event on a brand new amphitheater next summer. And so that's something that we're aspiring towards. And so that would dramatically change not just the Juneteenth event, but also all of our music at Mill Bridge, and establish that as a place that everyone, regardless to your modality or your capacity or ability to get around, will be able to get in and out of Mill Bridge Park safely and comfortably. The farm, the access point is out to bid, and so that is open, and so we're just waiting for the bid cycle to end with that one. So it's a pretty straightforward opportunity with that. And so they're also continuing to think about what the next steps will be in the phasing of that work in general with the farm and its activation. With the Powell bill, we're in the process of Withers is working with the planning department of updating our Powell bill. So the Powell bill is a certain amount of funds that's distributed from the state for resurfacing and also greenway repair. One step that has to happen every single year is that as we accept new streets into our town, we have to have an engineer update our GIS maps and say these streets have been accepted, and then I'll bring those before you as a consent item in the first meeting of next month. And so it'll be a list of streets, how long they are, and some descriptions of them. And once we accept it, then we offer the information up to the state, and so that our overall mileage will increase. And so with the increase of our mileage and our population and such, then our allotment of Powell bill funds to do resurfacing and maintain the infrastructure will shift as well. And so more linear miles, more population, more money to, proportionally, it's the same, but proportionally more funds to be able to do pavement preservation and such.
Quick question on that.
Yes.
I was thinking it's by the mile. Is that right? That we get?
Yes.
But it doesn't
It's a tenth
consider
of the
the
mile.
type of street it is. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-lane, like a 3-lane Granite Falls versus, Prairie Circle. It's still same per mile, same amount of money per mile.
It's the same amount of money per mile. There are some identifiers of tertiary streets, but in general, it's about the same amount of money per mile. And then the last one is just completed projects. The automatic gate at Millbridge Park was completed, and so if you go out there, you see that there's a nice, shiny new gate that open and close that saves us boosts security and saves a lot of time when it comes to staff managing that particular park. But that is all of our active CIP projects. There are some smaller projects going on. You see certain repairs, continuous kind of like improvement repairs of facilities at parks, things along the trail. But those are the major CIP projects that we classify as being like $50,000 or more, or things that are multi-year in nature. Any questions or concerns?
No, but thanks for the update.
Absolutely.
That's awesome to actually know where we're at on everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Okay. We don't really do, reports, anything like that. So, Attorney, real quick, you don't have a report, do you? Or you got something you want to mention?
Mayor, you had asked me to provide an update on a formerly pending lawsuit. Did you want me to do that now?
Yeah,
or-
that'd be great. Yeah, do
Okay.
that.
You will recall the update that I had provided to the board in an email back in April that Soto v. Rolesville had been dismissed. That was not a surprise. That was the shared opinion of our office, insurance counsel, and then the Eastern District judge, that case did not have any merit. The judge dismissed the case, and now the appeal period has run. So that matter is closed and not something that we would need to worry about in the future.
Thank you. Anything else? That's it? Real quick, do we have an executive session? Anybody need an executive session? I don't think we called for one, so we won't do one tonight. I will close by a couple comments. I think, as you see, Commissioner Sneed, April is not here. She's out of the town on a vacation period, so we miss her tonight. She picked a good time to go, didn't she? For sure. But I'm sure she's having a good time there. You mentioned the Juneteenth event, and that was a good event. We had a couple of good events over the weekend, Saturday. Had a car show and that Juneteenth event. And just thank June for their work. They really did a good job of putting that together. First time we've done one. And I think most of us was there. So really appreciate the staff helping out on that. Really good job. There is a news broadcast this afternoon from News 7. I've seen it. It's been hit social media. They interviewed the chief, fire chief, and myself with the unification. I haven't seen the broadcast, so I'm not exactly sure how well we did, but I can tell you the fire chief is really, he's getting excited, I think. You may think the same thing, because every time I see him, he's got things he wants, you talk to him too. I think not on him, I think he's getting the whole organization excited. We're not gonna lose anything over there. And I think that's what excites him and the rest of them is, we're doing this together and not as a lone wolf. So, but I'm interested to see what the news thing did tonight. So if you can catch it, I think it's already been shown at 6, but you may can catch it again. That's it. I know it's getting hot, so everybody make sure you're hydrated. I think it's supposed to be temperature over 100 this weekend, so it's going to be extremely hot. And the final note for our adjourn is Town Hall will be closed tomorrow, I think, for the holiday. We will be supporting the I guess the closures as
Yes,
needed.
I'll be working tomorrow, as well as Fred Smith. Police officers don't take days off as well, so we'll still be working tomorrow.
Just want anybody to be at Town Hall, so just want to remind everybody of that. And
Thank you for your service.
I don't know if that'll help traffic or not. It may not help traffic, but
Well, out working or what?
no, the schools are not closed tomorrow then, are they?
No, I don't.
Because it is a federal holiday.
It's a
but-
federal holiday, but it's not a state observed holiday.
Right.
That's correct. So you're closed by choice.
Right, so I don't think it'd make much difference in the traffic tomorrow, but it might. But it is a holiday, and Town Hall will be closed, but we'll be supporting everything else. So with that, unless I hear opposition real quick, go ahead.
One last thing, Jim would be very upset with me if I did not invite everybody out to Rolesville 4th. That will be taking place on July 4th. This will be the last time that we will not see you before the 4th, I think. Or if we do have our meeting that week, it will be the next day. And so this is your ample notice to continue to mark your calendars and pay attention to our social media platforms. We're looking forward to a great fireworks show and a great time at our 4th of July celebration that takes place at Redford Place Park.
Yeah, that's a good point. Please, everybody come out. I don't think we have to ask people to come out for that. People going to come out for that. That's a real good event, and people been knowing it for a while. But I was asked, I think, what is our meeting day on? Did we move it to the following week, or it's on Thursday after the 4th? So, no. 4th is a Thursday. Do we know, Robin, when our meeting will be? That because holiday week, sometimes we move it around.
To the 9th?
I got the 9th, actually.
9th?
I have the 9th. And then the 16th is not.
So it's Tuesday the 9th.
So Tuesday the 9th.
Yeah,
correct.
and we only have one meeting that month on Tuesday the 9th, and that's right. So it is, we don't have to worry about the holiday week, and I thought that was the case. Somebody had asked that. I thought that was the case, so appreciate you bringing that up. Anything else? No opposition, board, we're going to adjourn the work session. So thanks, everybody, for coming. Thank you for y'all for coming, and appreciate your presentation. So thanks, appreciate it. We are adjourned.